Kunja Vihari Upajana Vallabha Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Girivardhari Jaya Girivardhari Yashodanandana Jaya Vratadhara Ramjana Jaya Vrachodanoranjana Yashodanandana Jaya Vratadhara Ramjana Jaya Vrachodanoranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Kunja Vihari 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 Jaya Rama Rama 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 Jaya Kunja Vihari Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swam Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devam Gauravani Pracharya Nirvishesha Shriyavadi Bhaskavati Devatari Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So this is from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, Chapter 26, text 36? 37. Huh? 37. 37. Okay. Chalanam vyuvanam praptir netritvam dravya shabdayoh sarvendriyanam atmatvam vayo karma bilakshanam. Translation. The action of the air is exhibited in movements, mixing, allowing approach to the objects of sound and other sense perceptions, and providing the proper functioning of all the other senses. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. We can perceive the action of the air when the branches of a tree move, or when the dry leaves on the ground collect together. Similarly, it is only by the action of the air that the body moves, and when the air circulation is impeded, many diseases result. Paralysis, nervous breakdowns, madness, and many other diseases are actually due to an insufficient circulation of air. In the Ayurvedic system, these diseases are treated on the basis of air circulation. If from the beginning one takes care of the process of air circulation, such diseases cannot take place. From the Ayurveda as well as from Srimad Bhagavatam, it is clear that so many activities are going on internally and externally because of air alone. And as soon as there is some deficiency in the air circulation, these activities cannot take place. Here, it is clearly stated, Netritvam Dravaya Shabdayoho, our sense of proprietorship over action is also due to the activity of the air. If the air circulation is stifled, one cannot approach a place after hearing. If someone calls us, we hear the sound because of the air circulation. And we approach that sound or the place from which the sound comes. It is clearly said in this verse that these are all movements of the air. The ability to detect odors is also due to the action of the air. Mam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Buddhale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swam Tinamne Namaste Saraswati Devam Gauravani Pracharana Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Vashkatya Desatarana. The action of the air is exhibited in movements, mixing, allowing approach to the objects of the sound and other sense perceptions, and providing for the proper functioning of all other senses. So here in an amazing way, Srimad Bhagavatam again shows how scientific Krishna consciousness is. Not only that we know we are not this body, but here it's in a very, very detailed way in all these shlokas explained how the body works. This science is subconsciously, actually, even doctors, they do that. I remember once, very rarely, but I was in a hospital, and every morning the nurse came in and we all had to climb under the blankets because she opened all the windows to get fresh air. So how would it come? They know. They feel that when you don't open the window, you don't ventilate. Ventilation, you know it from construction, this is a whole science. How to ventilate a place. If you don't ventilate a place, there is no airflow, there will be fungus, there will be moisture collecting, there will be problems immediately. A non-ventilated building is doomed to collapse. You can see it sometimes when people live and they don't open the windows and they sit there. The building is rotting and their bodies also fall apart. Old people, they do it sometimes. They just close everything and they sit somewhere, and it's because it's not ventilated, because they don't want to get cold or they are saving heating, expense. And then immediately, the whole problem starts. So why do people take walks in a forest? Not just to see the forest, but to get fresh air, So the principle of fresh ventilation is understood. But here, in a far more detailed way, is described what else air can do for us. If there would be no, if there would be no air transmission, I couldn't speak now even. We cannot hear because, the sound travels through the air. So, it's so essential, but we don't see it. Nobody sees the air, but everybody needs it. We need it for breathing, we need it for ventilation. It's a most valuable item actually, but we don't see it. So how do you make somebody leave the body? Well, every military man knows in a close combat, you stop his airflow, that's it. As soon as you stop the airflow, the man dies. Because the whole body is constantly recycling air. And there's much more to it, which I'm not so expert. It's whole circles of air, the various airflows, ventilation system going through our body. Yogis are using it, you know. They can even influence the bodily, the flow of the air in the body. And they ultimately can leave body at their own will, like this, by pressing the air, and at the end the yogi meditates and he is actually leaving through Brahmarandra. It's actually an opening here. You see it on babies. You don't have babies, so you don't know. But those who have babies, they know that this is not completely closed when the baby is born yet. It's a very soft spot, and it's just gradually closing. So this Brahmarandra is just something yogis leave the body, they power the air, by mystic power, very unnatural and very painful. And then they leave like a rocket out of the body, and the body is collapsing, causing fire sometimes. It explodes. Sometimes you see a forest on fire. Well, there was a yogi. He just left, Could happen. And then they go to wherever they want to go. Different planets, like this. In a case of a devotee, we have no ability to do that, and we don't do that. We are just leaving and destiny to Krishna. Just, wherever Krishna wants us to go, we simply follow. So this is mechanical. This is all mechanical science is described here. But you can imagine the brain of the Supreme Personality of Godhead who designed this whole thing. It's just unbelievable. Krishna designed all the air conditioning, all the airflow system, all the ventilation in the whole universe. Why is the planets floating? They say, but there is no air. Well, there is something. And they are all sustained simply by Krishna thinking. Simply by thinking. We can sing whatever we want, but we don't sustain much, isn't it? There's a beautiful story of a king who wanted to go. This is actually a demoniac idea, as we see today. He wanted to approach other planetary system by mechanical means. Ravana had the thing. He built a stair all the way to the heavenly planets. How long it takes to walk the stair, I don't know. But he didn't care because he had a mystic power. So nowadays it's attempted by the help of rockets, which is actually a childish thing because rockets are so limited. They need fuel and all this, and to counteract that gravity of the earth, it's so difficult. People complain, there's, airplanes, rockets, this is all mechanical attempt to contradict the gravity of the earth. And it's very complicated. It takes lots of fuel, and you have to really struggle. If you want to find out, then you have to get older, then you find out that even to get up is not so easy, because you have to contradict the gravity of the earth by your own means, and the means are a little bit falling apart. So you see sometimes old people, they need help to get up. They don't need help to get down. That happens automatically. To get down, no problem. But I tell you, there is a certain age where when you get down, then you calculate how you have to get up. I do that all the day. Anytime I bow down, I calculate how do I get up. Consciously. When you are young, you don't care. You just go blang, 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 no problem. What's the problem? No. When the body is getting a little bit older, then it can become a problem. How do you get up? So this is all exhibition of Krishna's amazing potency, amazing power. And at the end, when we are dying, we are all down. We are not up. Nobody dies in the air, floating. Everybody is down. People saying, I will not bow down in front of God, humiliating myself like this. Oh yeah, we will. Krishna says, I am the death, I'm coming. And you will bow down. One way or another. You know, people go, I am God, and then they fell over. You must. It's uncompromising. So this is all exhibition of Krishna's potencies, therefore it's in Bhagavatam, and it's interesting to hear about this. Prabhupada used the medical examples, and he is coming from a medical background. Srila Prabhupada rarely spoke about this. He was actually not so concerned with the physical frame, because he said actually it's useful so we can serve Krishna. Outside of that, what's the use? There are so many healthy idiots in this world, it's unbelievable. You have people going, he's completely healthy, but no brain. So we are more concerned with the brain department. And sometimes depends on your nature, that devotees are a little bit careless here. That's known. I am one of these cases. Very rarely. I was just visiting a doctor 2 weeks ago, because of nothing basic, but some skin problem and this. I have sensitive skin. And then and I told the lady, I will shock you. So old doctor, she laughed. She said, nobody can shock me. Because I'm old, experienced doctor. I saw so many things. You don't even know what I saw. I said, I will shock you. When I show her my skin, she was going, this is horrible. I told you, I will shock you. Because actually, I should have taken care more. But I'm not inspired. Devotees are usually not so inspired, Depends on your nature. I don't want to go more in detail. It can get controversial because some devotees do pay very much attention to the body. But I don't see that actually they are so inspired in Krishna consciousness. Because by dint of Krishna consciousness, Srila Prabhupada writes in one purport, the best remedy for disease is to chant Hare Krishna. Wow. He said, actually by chanting of Hare Krishna, you can become healthy. He writes that. How is it possible? Hare Krishna is not meant as medicine. It's meant for spiritual purposes, not this physical purposes. But what Hare Krishna mantra does, it eradicates our karmic destiny. That's a good way to improve even the bodily situation. But what about if you cannot? Because people are still chanting Hare Krishna and dying. That's the ultimate destiny of this body. So therefore, it's not the priority. But it can happen, because one of the sources of disease is anxiety. There is 3 kinds of sources of disease: diet, what you eat; hygienic environment, if you live in a dirty or clean place; and above all, anxiety. And this anxiety comes from ignorance. People are always in anxiety. You look around, something will happen. Actually they don't want to admit it sometimes, but they are in anxiety. And so when this is removed, everything starts to function much better. I remember before I joined this movement, I had severe problems with stomach, because stomach and the mind are connected. When you are in anxiety, your stomach goes like this. But after I joined this movement, I was relieved from anxiety. I had no stomach problems. Until today, not much. Yeah. I don't know, yeah, stomach, yeah. It's like a bag, you put the food in, it digests this and distributes energy. Good. My understanding of eating is basically like that. It's like tanking a car, just and then bang, here we go. I don't like being hungry. I'm not very excited by fasting, but too much eating, especially in a certain age, also very dangerous. Because the digestion doesn't work that much anymore. If I remember what we used to eat when I was 18, 20 years old, cannot be compared to what I can eat today. Yeah. You cannot imagine what we were eating. It was more like a suicide, I remember after every Sunday feast as brahmacharis, we had such a fantastic cooks. Himawati, that was the wife of the temple president, she was incredible cook. The cooking was, we had no money, the temple was just, everything went into preaching. Simple place, but the kitchen and the cooking was serious thing. The pots were this size. We were just not so many people. We emptied all the pots. We knew how to do that. If I would describe you in the beginning, the brahmacharis, they were just having the eating paraphernalia was like an offering, on Janmashtami. Everybody had these balls you can put together like this, then he spread it out like this. And then you went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, second time, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Until you cannot breathe. I remember we were lying after the Sunday feast in the Brahmachari ashram. We were like, you couldn't even chant because the stomach was here. It's just that the lungs were pressed together, So we were like, completely finished. It took me until Wednesday to digest that. But because we were running all the time, working really hard, we burned the whole thing down. There was not really too many fat devotees, so no, not really. And now, as one devotee told me, I can just look at prasadam, I already get fat. So it depends on your constitution, but I don't think I eat too much. No, if I don't move, the airflow is not there really, then if I would try to be Brahminical, which I'm not, I would get really fat. Brahmanas usually don't get fat. Why? They have a different air circulation, the body, and they are naturally attracted to austerity. They love austerity. For Brahmanas, it's like sanskarification. Let's fast. Very good. Very good. They love it. Anybody else, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, doesn't like it. Yeah. Kshatriyas, they like big eating, big action. Vaishya, usually the sign of a Vaishya is that he is not skinny. Because he likes to enjoy the results of his economical development, which manifests in variety of foods. Why not? And he likes to share it with others. Please come for lunch. And Shudra, if he doesn't work hard, boom. This you see when you walk around, so many fat people, it's a big problem, obesity, In America, the whole America is dying on obesity. You can never, I never was in America, but I heard the stories. There is never such an accumulation of a fat, hardly moving people like in America. Because we don't even discuss what they eat. So this is all obstructing airflow. This is all very damaging. Doctors know that. There's many medical men will tell you that. You're eating too much. No, but the taste is good. The tongue has two functions, to vibrate and to taste. So, both is actually dangerous. This is one of the obstacles in devotional service. You eat too much or you talk too much. Prajalpa. The tongue wants to vibrate. But that's not so important. It's not connected to the brain. It's just the tongue goes blah, I can afford the luxury here. There is not directly females sitting here, but they are really good at it. When you have heard the sound, when females come together, you try to understand what they are talking about. No, you will not. I don't think they know themselves what they are talking about. They are just it just comes out, just that's normal. I'm not criticizing anything. It happens, yes. As a devotee, we are supposed, and we should, control these things. What am I talking? To whom I am talking? What should be the issue? What is important? And the rest of the time, Hare Krishna. Yeah, if the tongue wants to vibrate, let it vibrate the holy name. It's perfect. It's perfect. It's very useful. So, when it wants to taste, let's taste prasadam. When I was a young devotee, I was amazed. I already met all the devotees, and they were tasting prasadam. A little bit, very good prasadam. And that was it. Us, the young ones, we were like, like vacuum cleaners, just let's take it all in. More. That's basically powered by lust. But it regulates itself in Krishna consciousness. We encourage people to take a prasadam, more prasadam. But the result of that is that you naturally become regulated. You realize this is becoming disturbing for devotional service. I pray to Krishna. Krishna, I'm overeating all the time in the beginning. So how can I regulate that? It was and I was surrounded by devotees with the same problem. It's a congregational hypnosis, You see the other one eating, you go, wow, that must taste good. Yes, this must taste good. Look how much he's eating. And then you start to eat too. So, but Krishna had a very simple solution to it. He loaded me with so much responsibility for others that I had no time to eat, really. Not much. Not only that, we went to another extreme. We practically stopped eating. Because we were the whole day distributing books, and eating became like a disturbance, on my concentration, So then he went to the other extreme. There was no cooking, there was nothing. I cannot even tell you what we were eating in the winter. One frozen apple, one frozen yogurt, and some peanuts. That's it. I can teach you how to eat frozen apple. You have to lick on it for quite sufficient time that you can bite in it. I can teach you that. Frozen yogurt was like ice cream. And peanuts, very difficult to digest. But they last. It's more lasting power. And being full with ice and undigestible items, we went out and distributed books the whole day. Well, you can get sick like this. Definitely. Then fortunately, Hare Krishna came and he said, what are you doing here? Now some devotees contradicted in the winter this ice syndrome by cooking themselves some tea. No, it wasn't a tea. It was called Brahmastra. And I don't know what they put inside. I'm not a cook. But one devotee once gave me it was a thermos, and glowing hot, and he gave me to taste this. I exploded. It was like chili and more chili with pepper, and then more chili, all cooked up. So I was like, ah! And you were like, we were radical people, very radical people, So I don't want to go in detail, but when I remember what we used to do, I'm amazed what you can actually do with this body. It's amazing. This is Krishna's creation, and it's so amazing. It's even self-repairing. You know that most of the diseases are self-repairing diseases? If you just stay away from overeating, or you fast when you are sick, and you keep the airflow properly, you become healthy again. So all this medical thing is just business, They sell you so much medicine, but when you look at the medicine, it's the same thing. It's painkillers. It doesn't solve any disease, it makes you forget it. And people think, oh, now I'm healthy. No, the disease is still there, you just don't feel it. Most of the medicine you get in a pharmacy is just painkillers. You take the tablet, you think, oh, I feel better. Huh?
Can you tell us your understanding of the significance of eating versus the statement that Prabhupada says that energy comes from the soul? So
Yeah.
If the energy comes from the soul, what is the significance of eating?
Yeah. We have an example of Srila Prabhupada, who was known of coming from a pharmaceutical business. He was running a pharmacy. But Prabhupada was very negligent to medicine. His servants were desperate sometimes, especially when his physical condition was deteriorating, because Prabhupada was abusing his airflow. When you travel, then you come all the time in a very artificial circumstances. You change the climate, you change the environment. Try to fly on an airplane for 18 hours. You will see what it does to you. Because there is no airflow. They ventilate the whole air, they just push it around and around. Because you cannot open a window on an airplane, not possible. So you breathe the same thing again, ventilated through old dirty filters. Yeah. And then I never flew that long. But already India, that's 8 hours, 9 hours, it's already bad. Yeah. It's, you get headaches and the body starts to vibrate. Prabhupada had it all the time, because he was moving all the time. So actually Srila Prabhupada cannot be copied or imitated, because he was overpowering it with this transcendental energy. Purely transcendental energy. I know it from his servants. He basically, being Prabhupada's servant, traveling with him, you lasted maybe 3 months. Then you were finished. Niranjana Maharaj, he's a very fragile body actually, and he was very, very nice devotee, wonderful devotee. He was serving Prabhupada, but he said, you know what I did after 3 months? I flew to my parents' house in America. I went in my old room, and I was sleeping for 1 week. I was finished. And Prabhupada just kept on traveling with a new servant. Like nothing happened. Just physically to examine what it means, man in his age with 2 heart attacks, traveling like this, it's just unbelievable. Unbelievable. That's pure spiritual energy. So, we cannot copy that, but we can try to follow it. By more and more spiritualizing our life, then everything else will start to come together. Sometimes you wonder why all devotees get so mysteriously, severely sick. Now, this is a little bit maybe part of my personal speculations, but sometimes I feel such a nice devotee and he's becoming, at the end of his life, I mean, so extremely sick. What did he do? To actually, is it karma or what is it? Actually it is. It's like Krishna squeezed the last bits of your karmic reactions out of you. So you can go back home, back to Godhead. That's how I feel about it. That's how I would feel if I would come in such a condition. You know, I don't want to get autobiographic, but I think Krishna cannot take me too seriously because I don't suffer enough. It's like Krishna telling me, no, just go on. You know, when I meet a godbrother in my age, you know what they ask me? The first question is, what kind of diet you have? We didn't see each other for 10 years, and he is asking me what kind of diet you have. And the next thing is he is asking me what kind of medicine I take. And I go, do we have to talk about this? Come on, we didn't see each other for 10 years. But obviously it's an issue. No, I don't take any medicine. And my diet is, I have to be careful when something tastes good. So I don't eat too much. That's my diet. You know, so that's all. What are you talking about? And they look at me like, how old are you? I go, I don't know. I'm bad in year counting, you know. I really am bad. So I said, no. I used to tell people, I'm 70, yeah. And then one devotee told me, I looked you up. You are 72. You are not 70. I was going, oh, thank you for the information. You know, it's like, I don't know, it's just, but yeah, I feel few things, yeah, it's hydraulic part, you know, that's where you feel it, the hydraulic. The power, no, I can bend this, I can bend it physically, but the hydraulics, yeah, it's squeaking, you know, it's not so oiled anymore. And I go, so I feel like a old digging machine. That's actually what I feel, you know. Still the engine, but the mechanism is a little bit rusty. That's what happens naturally, and I expect it not to get better. Devotees come to me sometimes, and some devotees are very expert, almost obsessed with that. They go, you have to go to the pancha treatment, you know, and this and the special kind of fasting, all in India, you know. And then you have like new body. I said, are you joking? I don't want a new body. I'm scared to have a new body, you know, next lifetime again. Like little babies, they're actually very healthy. No brain. It's all gone. Last lifetime you were professor of mathematics, doctor, teaching in university. Next lifetime you are a complete idiot. You are born zero. It's all blanked out. Now you may come back to it due to your past karma, but you have to learn again. 1 and 1 is 2. You know, it's amazing, isn't it? We are born from last lifetime as a complete idiots. And people are happy about it. Oh, such a nice baby. No, he's a complete idiot. Sorry, I don't mind babies, but they are not very intelligent. You know, and then when you grow up, things get complicated because you have to learn again. Where I am, you're confused. You know, so it's not nice to be born again. And then the body comes, and then the body starts to develop and do things which are amazing. You know, I don't want to go too much in detail, but I was dealing with babies also. I'm a father, and I know. So very much actually. Then you discover there's something down there. It looks different, like over there. What is it? Yeah, it's called the genital. That's a real problem. Then you discover, yeah, that's where the urine comes out. And now it gets more complicated. And it starts to dominate your life. It's called puberty. You didn't plan for that. It's happening. It's happening. Then the differences of genders starts to become very interesting. Big problem. Big problem. Oh, we don't want to go even in details. But just lately it crossed my mind. How Krishna arranged things. Isn't it amazing? And being born in this world, this is just my personal thing, but I was wondering, why is everybody born through the same place you pass urine? Didn't you notice? You are born through the same place your mother passed urine. I was thinking, well, maybe Krishna doesn't have such a high opinion of us being born here. Because we could be born from other openings of the body, We have in Bhagavatam example, people are born out of the mind. Yeah? Brahma is creating from his mind, from his forehead.
Nose.
Huh? Nose, yes, from the nose. Why from the genital? Not so impressive. So I was thinking, we should never forget that. We come from a place where you urinate. That's the wonderful origin of us. I'm a very elevated person. I was born from the same place my mother urinated. Yeah, well, we should take a little bit easy with that. Not very dignified birth. Sorry, no. So this is just my little thinking, I do on a way. I was thinking here. And actually, I was not born like that way. I was born, they cut my mother open. They pulled me out. It's amazing. But did you ever spend some time in birth clinic? I did. It's terrifying. That night I never forget. I was walking through this big hospital full of women who were giving birth. That night, somehow they had marathon, I don't know what. The screams of pain was horrifying. It was a horror house. From every room somebody was screaming and screaming. And then it became sterile. First the mother was screaming and then there was a little one screaming. It was horror. I was like, oh. Not very often. When people are dying, it's more quiet, They have nothing to say. Finished. Yeah? So when you go to a place where people are dying, it's more quiet. But when you go to a place where people are born, it's very loud. And it's not pleasant. It's horrible. But people are happy. Oh, he's born, baby. That little helpless creature cannot control even the liquids coming out. Nothing. You know nothing. You are completely in a helpless condition. Squeezed more and more for 9 months. You cannot get out. If somebody would, in our shape, put us in a condition of an embryo, we would die. Couldn't take it. Bent together and dark, connected to a tube. I have a practical experience. You cannot imagine how strong that tube is. I cut it. It's really like plastic with iron. Because all the nourishment comes. And then they had to cut you open and then so my wife couldn't give normal birth, so they cut her open. The shortcut. And then my mother, same thing. So Normally, a mother dies like this. When there is no such operation, the mother is dying, and the baby too. But everything is artificial in Kali Yuga, so I was born that way too. And they took the baby out, and they told my father was calling, "Is he born? Is he born?" They said, "Yeah, but he's dead. That child is useless." I was declared death at my birth. Quite amazing, isn't it? 1953. You know, there was not much difference between veterinary and doctor, you know. One was helping the pigs, you know, and the cows, and then he turned around and he helped the mothers too, you know. It's coming basically similar way, you know. So they said the child is finished. The mother barely survived. But it's too early, and so they put me into some oven. It was a prototype of some baking oven, you know, to imitate the womb actually, but there was some airflow, and they put me there and they baked me a little bit more. And I called my father and they said, "He's still alive. He didn't die." The doctors were surprised. Still moving. You know, still breathing. And after 10 days, they let me out of the hospital. I was a kind of normal baby. And nobody understood why. Because there are many, many things at these moments you realize that this is not under your control. In India, Ayurvedic doctors, they describe medicine, which is usually herbs, all kinds of herbs and this. So a real doctor in India, before they apply the medicine, they put it on an altar in front of the deities and they pray. Because they know exactly the same medicine can work completely differently on different people. Some people get cured by it, some people don't get cured. It doesn't matter what the medicine you get. So these are all evident examples that we are entirely depending on the supreme will, on the supreme control of Krishna. That's our ultimate medical understanding. And we can see, we heard today, how we are all depending on an airflow, which we don't see, but we can feel it. Oh, there's fresh air. You know, we can feel it, but we don't see it. So this is another example how we are all depending on Krishna's mercy. I'm not supposed to go too long with this, so there will be for sure devotees who will have a very more intricate and more complicated explanation to this. Well, I am not one of them. For me, it's just sufficient information. Okay, wind is blowing, air is moving, Krishna is here. That information is sufficient for me. Okay? You just stop. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai.